Hello, a few problems from section 5.5. Section 5.5. Find the exact value of sine of cosine inverse of 1/2 without a calculator. Okay, so notice that this is sine of this entire thing here is my theta. So I'm going to say let theta equals to cosine inverse of 1/2. Now, if I take cosine of both sides, then I have cosine of theta equals to 1/2. Okay, I know the domain for cosine inverse is between 0 and pi, between 0 in here and pi in here on a unit circle. Okay, and so this is the domain right here between 0 and pi. Well, cosine of theta in this case is positive, so I must be in quadrant 1. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a triangle in quadrant 1, this theta being touching the origin. Okay. What do I know? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that means that side opposite must be square root of 3. Okay, so we exchange the sine of cosine inverse of 1/2 with sine of theta. We make that substitution. And sine of theta equals to opposite over hypotenuse. So I have square root of 3 over 2. As easily and effortlessly as that without a calculator. Let's do one more. Suppose I have tangent of cosine inverse of negative root 3 over 2. Okay. So once again, I'm going to let my theta, I know that this is my theta. Okay. So if theta equals to cosine inverse of negative root 3 over 2, what do I know? I know that cosine of theta equals to minus root 3 over 2. Since it is negative, I must be in quadrant 2. Once again, the domain for cosine inverse is between 0 and pi. So if this is the unit circle, I have a triangle like this. Remember, your theta must touch this origin. Remember that. That's where the orientation of your triangle is very important. Okay, so I know that here's my triangle. Let's bring it down here. Okay. Adjacent over hypotenuse, so minus root 3 over this is 2. So now I have to find side opposite. So that is going to be 4 square. 2 squared is 4 minus. So yeah, this is going to be just giving me a 1 right here. And so now that we exchange this with theta, this up here is my theta. Now this equals to tangent of theta, which is opposite or adjacent. So I have 1 over negative square root of 3. And if I rationalize the denominator, I'm going to have minus root 3 over 3. So what I did, I multiplied the top and bottom of 1 over negative root 3 by square root of 3 to rationalize the denominator. Let me write that. I multiply this by square root of 3, and I multiply this by square root of 3. And the negative sign, it doesn't matter. It's conventional that we whether put it on the top or on the side. So remember that this is the same as saying minus root 3 over 3, which is the same as saying square root of 3 minus over negative 3. All these values are the same. Uh, Most of the time, for publishing purposes, the publishers use it in this fashion, put the negative side in, right up front. I personally couldn't care less. I would like it on the top, but it's, you and most of the teacher that I know would like it on the top, actually. Let me do one more. Let me do one more. Go to, yeah. Let's do this time secant of, okay. Let's do this time secant of tangent inverse of square root of 3. Interesting. So here's my theta right here. Here's my theta. So my theta equals to tangent inverse of square root of 3. So take tangent of both sides. So I have tangent of theta equals to square root of 3, which is the same as saying square root of 3 over 1. It's the same thing. Okay. By definition, I know tangent is opposite or adjacent. And notice that since tangent is positive, I must be in quadrant 1. Remember that the domain for tangent inverse is from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. And negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2 are not included because tangent is undefined at negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. So the domain for tangent inverse is from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. Okay, so if I draw a triangle in quadrant 1 with my theta being touching the origin, I have a triangle like this. Okay, so side opposite is, in this case, square root of 3. And side adjacent is 1. And of course, let's see, square root of 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 3. So I have a 2 in here for my hypotenuse. So secant of tangent inverse of root 3 equals to secant of theta, which is right here. Okay, secant is 1 over cosine. Okay, so it's hypotenuse or adjacent. So that equals to 2 over 1 equals to 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks.